Hello everyone, my name is Sasan. I'll be spinning tracks from this new release Idioblast album, including unreleased tracks by John Fekner, City Squad. John is here in the studio with Eric Bradshaw, who will explain about this release. Okay, man.
Okay, step over that. This way. This is bad. All right. Okay, here we are. What am I looking at? Am I looking at something? I can't hear myself. But hey, I'm Eric Bradshaw, aka Cremo Coil, from a different radio station. And we're on the Lot Radio here. And we're listening to John Fekner's brand new reissue, double LP. Mr. Fekner is in the house, and this just came out on Modern Harmonic, which is part of the Sundazed label, and it's double LP. It's got basically everything, just about all the John Fekner City Squad material, including things that never came out, and including the entire Idioblast album, which came out in 1984, released on Vinyl Gridlock by Mr. Fekner. Also an amazing label name. I don't know if I ever told you that. Vinyl Gridlock, incredible label name. And it comes with the stencil and all sorts of stuff. So who is John Fekner? Well, that's what I needed to figure out when I discovered his music. Which I'm trying to remember how I discovered it. It might have even, and I do not use YouTube very much. I mean, I use it to listen to some things, but I definitely don't let it choose things for me because it doesn't really know what is good necessarily. But somehow I can't remember exactly how I heard a John Fekner City Squad song, and I was like, this is great. So I scored a copy off of Discogs, and I absolutely just fell in love with it. I wrote a thing about it for a piece I did for a French punk rock zine that got translated into French. So, and then I was working on this other project. I wanted to contact John Fekner. I was like, oh, John Fekner, he's around. So I sent him an email, and I sent the thing that I had written, which was just a short kind of thing about the Idioblast album, maybe about 500 words. But that's how it started, and then a few years later, now we have this beautiful double LP. So, and it is also available on CD. It's available on streaming, Bandcamp, etc. So, John, besides just making this amazing record, I cannot possibly encapsulate his art career. So I highly recommend using your internet search to find out about John Fekner. Super fascinating. He is a pioneering stencil artist, and he did so much bonkers guerrilla action art in starting even in as far back as the 60s and throughout the 70s. And I don't know how John feels about this, but he's, you all know Banksy. This guy did a lot of the Banksy thing way before Banksy. It's a different style, but the guerrilla art of public art and sneaking in places, putting pieces up. I can't possibly explain all this, but there's liner notes that I wrote in the record that give you more of a breakdown of his art career. And he started making music partly because I believe you were inspired by not only 60s rock and roll, which you grew up on, but also things like Kraftwerk, who, everyone was inspired by. And you knew a lot of the early hip-hop people. Anyway, we're going to get John to talk here. You knew a lot of the early hip-hop people partly because of your experience with graffiti and stencil art. And so tell us how you started making this really interesting kind of hip-hop, sort of avant-garde, also new wave, also pop music.
It all started out of Fashion Moda in terms of the hip-hop stuff.
Right.
So when
Fashion
that
Moda was in the
began
Bronx, correct?
in South Bronx.
Yeah.
And that was able to open up the doors to looking at and working with people from neighborhoods, which I was already doing back in Queens. So
Right.
to look at it in terms of the demographics shifted to include ideologically a lot of different more people to be included, neighborhood people, kids from the rubble, right from the South Bronx. It wasn't just Fashion Moda in terms of a center that was obviously a place for innovation and science, but also a community center. It was like a thrift shop that was turned into an art center. And everybody would basically show up there, and that includes people who are now at the top of their fields, whether it's breakdancing, graffiti, rap, and hip hop. And that continues to this day in terms of spreading the wild style message,
Yeah.
which was Charlie Ahern's movie.
Right.
So
this is this is like the early days of hip hop, b-boying, etc. And you were mingling and hanging out with these people. What made you make that transition into starting to make music and then this specific style? Do you remember when you first were like kind of put together some of the first tracks?
Well, some of the first tracks began very early. They began as a band at PS1.
Okay,
So
right. Because you were part of the original,
People at PS1.
the very first PS1
Studio
art. Yeah, you had a space, right, and you did a piece for that first. So that's So then you did a performance.
There was a few different performances,
Okay.
but it was mostly, again, illegal. It wasn't like
Right.
we were able to do this. We had keys, of course, to PS1 because you were a studio artist.
Yeah.
But after stenciling, we still had to do a lot of stuff.
Right.
And it turned into music.
Okay.
And so we started with the bass band, Dave Santinello, who did most of the lyric on the album.
Yeah.
But he's also the one who did most of the stencils with me early on, going back to 1976.
And when you say stencils, you're talking about like going up on highways, bridges, going on to abandoned buildings, and it's not just like on the side of the side of the. There's also that too, but I mean, you guys were doing some fairly daredevil kind of things, right? I mean, you weren't like, anyway, it's, I mean, you and Dave, who was, you were scouting places to do things throughout the city, correct?
Basically, because it was turning to infrastructure decay.
Right.
So that was things were being left behind wherever you went, whether it was on a highway, whether it was behind a warehouse. You would find dumps, dumped cars, garbage, rubber tires, everything that was, you would possibly find or should be in a dump was really on the streets in these back roads in Long Island City, Woodside, Greenpoint. People living in some of these buildings as well.
Yeah, right.
Homeless was happening already.
Yeah. So your stuff is very like it's about social sort of decay, and like you were trying to draw attention to a lot of this stuff, So but the music functions very much as a oral component to the art. I mean, it's all of a piece, So it's like when you listen to this music, you think about your art. It all makes sense, and the music is very reflective of the art. It's just kind of transformed into another media, which is really, really interesting. Maybe we should hear some more of this music, and then we can talk a little bit more about it. So, I'm not sure what track we're doing. I Get Paid to Clap. Oh, Haley's Comet. Okay, let's do it.
Place to be is on Space Shuttle if you're brave enough to get on it. But stand in the field, we'll see history. Here comes the tale of Haley's Comet. then listen close. This is the story of Rap Picasso. Come back in time to the start. Picasso is the father of modern art. Musicians were painting, painters were playing, styles were bending like the current trends. Rapping and breaking, spray campaign, double Dutch moves in the inner city groove. Watch the streets, the modern art, it's present and future tied to his heart. Picasso was the best at what he did. He never missed a beat. Did you hear that, kid? Watch out, boy, when you're on top. The competition is always high. Wanna be the best? Believe it or not. Work night and day. Never ever stop. Picasso.
Well, when the first computer failed, my knees started shaking. When the second computer failed, I turned to jelly.
So this is one of my absolute favorite John Fekner City Squad tracks. Travelogue the 80s. This is a tour de force, as I believe some idiot said in the liner notes. So this is a pretty incredible track. So the method that these things came together is really interesting. I mean, this is back in the early 80s. So you're using, you're taping things off of the phones, you're taping things off the radio, you're doing field recordings. Tell us a little bit about how you sourced a lot of these sounds. TV, radio, advertisement,
In terms of the outside work, all the media had to be different. So everything wasn't just on your phone. So you would have to have a film camera. You would have to have an 8mm camera. You'd have to have an audio recorder, a portable cassette. I had an Iowa. So I had those three 35mm camera for color slides, another camera for black and white.
Yeah.
So even though I might not say I was a great photographer or I was a great musician or I was able to do something painting that looked kind of what would be one genre, it was all being collaged on the go in my car.
Yeah.
So my car was a rolling studio.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a portable studio that all I had to do was go to the trunk and there were the car trunk documents. Xerox copies of pieces I previously did, just like a graffiti kid would have a black book and carry it around with them. I had a black bag. My bag was full of tricks. All those tricks were basically different media materials.
Right.
And a lot of times I had radio that picked up LaGuardia Airport. All those sounds came over, a shortwave radio. Record that.
Yeah.
If I heard some TV clip that maybe my mom was watching in the living room, there I go. I put the recorder right into the room and capture whatever was on the TV at that time.
So your like antenna was always up to like capture something, which is like a whole way of looking at the world, kind of. That's like, to be aware of all these things and not just one medium. You're using all these different mediums. You're using like real life, what's coming over radio waves, TV, walking around. So. Was this you were just collecting stuff and then did you just have like a sort of collection of things?
Once I had all those pieces in terms of sound pieces, then I would take it back home and then I would dub it down to a separate cassette. So I had a dual cassette player at my parents' apartment. They rented an apartment in Jackson Heights. So everything, which is probably the most diverse neighborhood in the world, I believe, Jackson Heights.
Oh, well.
Everything that I captured, whether it was from a Thai restaurant, whether it was from people in the streets, Roosevelt Avenue, it was what it is today. It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So all those different components would then be put onto one cassette, and then that was taken to Monkey Hill Studios, Dennis Mann.
So tell us a little bit about the studio on wheels that he had, Dennis Mann.
Okay.
And then he eventually then had a sort of regular studio, right? But he did this recording in his van, and you did some of this.
Well, there's
work.
Two people that we were talking about.
Okay.
Dennis had an 8-track studio.
Okay, right.
Dennis Mann. And then that moved to a 24-track studio. At the same time, Steve Remote was the fellow that had a Oral Sonic.
Oral Sonic, right.
And does remote recording.
Yeah.
So some of the tracks then became recorded on the truck while the 24-track studio was being built in College Point.
Okay.
So it had this mobile from, it seemed like everything I did was involving moving and motion.
Right.
Whether it was a car with doing the stenciling, and now we're working on the remote truck.
Yeah.
Truck.
But you're literally parked somewhere working
yes.
on stuff, like
Yeah.
inside, like as if you're like surveilling something, but you're actually just making like these awesome tracks.
It's almost like the studio. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
It's basically the same field, and that's why I decided through Saison to be able to, let's do it at the lot radio. There's no
Yeah,
way to
this isn't
present
that
this.
different from that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like here we are in a shipping container, so it's kind of the same thing. And you also use the SAM, the voice, which is a new sort of like program, right? That
Yeah, Votrax, SAM, they were all being shown in some schools as part of new media, as computer graphics, and
Right.
the Amiga computer started to come out.
Right.
Like
Really early.
You know, early stuff.
Early,
Andy Warhol
like-
did some early drawings.
oh really?
And
Okay.
the interactive multimedia at NYU, we were part of that. We were invited, did a lot of work on the early computer systems. So that's the other component.
Right.
That was the one piece that you would have to be in the studio with some real new equipment
Right.
in terms of computer graphics.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where the toxic waste from A to Z came. And prior to all this, backing up with Steve Grievous, who did his own pirate radio station called WHAT, What? And just, we did work together, and he also did some of the producing and playing the bass on 2457911.
And that was in Queens,
That
right?
was in Queens.
Yeah. Okay.
That was in Jackson Heights as
Okay.
well. So this park, 85th Street Park, where I did most of my stencils,
Right.
was the place that I just expanded.
And that's where you
including-
did the detective show, correct? Which
Correct.
is a pretty famous exhibition that you did in what year?
1978.
78, which was all public art in a park and featured tons of people. And I don't know if you tell us a little bit about that, because it definitely has. It's just as we said earlier, the way the art and the music is related. I feel like there's something to that.
Obviously, going to the street was an easy step. Artists started to move into abandoned spaces and doing art, such as PS1,
Yeah.
early pieces in the Lower East Side, down by Chinatown. Lee Quinones, the graffiti artist, well known as Lee, he had a piece down on Cherry Street. I remember going down there just to see that specific piece because you know it was probably in the media. It was in the Village Voice, one of the papers, and so it was something that was starting to expand in a great way, where the street was part of the message of
Right.
whatever you wanted to use it for, whether it was under the Brooklyn Bridge or in some other abandoned West Side part of the highway.
Yeah.
So all these things now that have become so luxurious were really fertile place to do artwork
Right.
because of that abandonment and about that, you know, that look of a pleasurable ruin.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a real example of how art became even more sort of democratic, I guess you could say, or whatever, you know, like of the people, truly of the people. It's like this is completely outside of any sort of gallery scene, any sort of like official channels. And it's not even like now they're like, hey, paint this wall. Like you were like, I'm going to paint that wall. Nobody's asking you to paint the wall or put a stencil up or whatever. And also there's a message. It's not just a pretty picture or whatever.
But that came from, a lot of it came from England because of, you know, everything that was going on with, you know, uprising and rock against racism.
Right.
And Tom Robinson band. It was very important. You know, he had a stencil actually on his, it was included inside the sleeve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Power, you know, Power in the Darkness and
Yeah.
Rock Against Racism, Glad to Be Gay.
Yeah.
2456 motorway, 24568 motorway.
So let's which track are we gonna hear next? Concrete People, and then maybe we'll talk about some of your collaborators next time around. All right, this is Concrete People.
Just call me Mr. Tech, and this is the beat I like. But something is missing. I think it's called pop. It's gone from my music and my life.
Just call me Madam Tish. I like them young and rich. Not talking to you, not talking to him. My middle name is Sin.
On the street, body contact to the beat.
My ladies call me the breeze. I just do as I please. Sometimes with you, sometimes with her. My love life's just a blur.
Yo, just call me Miss Flex. I don't have time for sex. 'Cause I work out at night on my bike, so I can get any guy I like.
Made it stone. Talking about muscle tone.
New York City has a street they refer to as the Deuce. Lots of women, fast money, all the weirdos around the place. A young child darted through the crowd, an old man close behind. A neon sign was flashing. Has everyone lost their mind?
Just call me Little Tim. I'm the city's youngest pimp. I got all the girls, the best in the world. They nickname me the Shrimp.
Just call me Tina Sue. I'll take it off for you. I'll do my best in this rated X. Big bucks for me and you.
Without heart, sell their soul for any part. Push and shove, no compassion. Without love, in a rush, green on red, feel the crush. See the ads, multiply the latest fads. We want videos and we want cars. We want to live just like stars. We want muscles and we want clothes. We want perfection from head to toe. We want sex and we want fun. We want everything under the sun. Me, myself, I is the scheme. We live our lives consuming our dreams.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Staring at the tube in the afternoon. Soap stuck heaven with all those fools. Said to myself, I don't need no screen to watch those suckers living in their own dream. Jump out of bed, I threw my jeans on. I had a few thoughts that I like to pass along. You know that box in your living room, it's you that it's trying to consume. Ran out the door into my neighborhood. Saw things before that I never could. It hit me in the head like electric shock. What life is all about is right here on the block. My street's the place where I wanna be. Filled with the newborn and the elderly, who are always there to give good advice about things that are wrong and things that are right. There's a family I know but seldom see. They just stay home and watch the TV. At night I can find them, it's easy for me. Black silhouettes against a big bright screen. 9/11. Television ain't my idea of heaven. I had enough. All I could take of TV commercials and station breaks.
Now the excitement really begins.
I know, that's why I always have it at home.
You know, in this town, I never have a problem getting the best seat in the house.
I want a giant screen TV.
All the stars that come on to bait get us chills for all cash they make. Try to con us that there is and hype us into seeing their latest flick. So don't follow leaders from TV Zero when on your own street is a real life hero. There's a guy on the block who don't say much. He plays with the kids even though he's real tough. Always so quiet, he never gives a clue. Silence is a weapon and a way to get through. All the yapping and the rapping of the fierce two boys. See empty barrels make the most noise.
Are the men that different from the boys? Men are the ones who don't let go of the toys. Always got their fingers on the stick, blowing up invaders in their minds to bits. So kids, get away from the glow of the set. There's so many things you haven't seen yet, like the meadows and the mountains and the rivers and the streams. Nature's beauty is real, no TV dream.
Television ain't my idea of heaven. I had enough. All I can take of TV commercials and the station breaks.
Changing channels, switching stations, under control of the television nation. The open lips, the stretching legs, the soda licks from the empty heads every hour. The cigarette showers, the idle faces and plastic towers. It's the market, specials on Sunday. Buy the product and again on Monday. Appealing news is a new format. Rat-sized reporters tell us where it's at. Everything, everywhere, so this and that. I finally see no TV's where it's at.
When we awake to we go to sleep. See it once and we see it.
On your way to Hollywood to be a big star. Leaving on the weekend from your hometown bar. You make some easy money, don't get caught in the trap of being just an extra. You get paid just to clap.
I got a small part in a rock video, lip syncing all the words, staring at the star's toes. When a guy yells, roll 'em, and it's time for me to act, I don't make a move, I get paid to clap.
The only thing to do is just smile at the band. The drummer said he dug you cause you had a perfect hand. A funny thing about it, all we saw was your back. Isn't it a pity you get paid just to clap?
I'm living in the 80s in the California dream. Back at home, do you see me on the TV screen? I tell all the ladies how they never should get fat. I also teach aerobics, I get paid to clap.
Televise, magnetize, advertise, hypnotize. When you're standing at the mirror and gazing in awe, in your mind you picture the sound of the applause.
I'm only human and I have a few flaws. I like to get applause. When the stars are out and the moon is yellow, I sit home watching video jello.
Soft grin, watch the screen and buy all the jeans. Get a good remote control, listen for all the scenes.
I don't think of the time that it's spent being idle, glued to the tube with my television idols.
Bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. Are you an idiot? Very ingenious devices invade our thoughts. Space has been invaded. Fang gang, the fang gang, fang gang, fang gang. Sit back, stare, don't speak.
Televised, magnetized, advertised, hypnotized.
We are the object of a million eyes. In the business of selling lies. Show you products you got to buy. Go to the store, don't ask why.
Soft brains, watch the screen and buy the jeans.
I'll entertain the city team, telling them authors make the scene. In the fall, brand new scheme. Turn around, disco, look real mean.
Soft brains, watch the screen and buy the jeans.
All right. Are we on? Oh, it's on. So tell us what we heard there, Mr. Fekner.
Well, that we're listening to I Get Paid to Clap with lead vocal by Sandra Seymour.
Sandra Seymour.
Yes, and some of the track of Concrete People include Sandy Mann, who does the great chorus, 3-part chorus. And we also have Sasha Sumner coming up on Beat Out Their Cycles, and Julie Federico, age 7, and Anthony Light was age 8.
Nice.
So there's a wide range
Yeah.
of people.
And the MC on, so tell, I always get the numbers wrong. Say the name of the song before I get paid to clap. 2624.
2457911.
2457911. It's not that hard. And first of all, we gotta say the clap sounds on these tracks are like amazing. And then when you hear I Get Paid to Clap, it all makes sense of why the clap sounds are so good. And the drum machines sound fantastic on this whole record, which is a key part of it. And you were using them slightly different than hip hop. It's like references hip hop, but it's kind of got its own swing, which I think is really cool. But 2457911 is probably up there with your most hip hop like song. So tell us about the MC who's on there. Sandra Seymour is on there, right? She's doing like, she talks about aerobicizing and getting paid to clap, or that's on the other song. But anyway, tell us a little bit about the MC.
On the MC is Bear 167, Kwame Monroe, a graffiti artist who unfortunately passed at an early age, but he's represented in Brooklyn museums and number of museums worldwide. Bear was hanging out at Fashion Moda. We met, we became friends, and he came down to Queens. I gave him the lyrics. He came up and he does the first stanza. Then Sandra Seymour does the answering, and then I come in. And it was, again, stitching all these pieces together in Monkey Hill Studios with Dennis Mann.
Yeah. So you're bringing all these elements in, and when you're the songs sound really, complete. I know that they were sort of assembled, but did you have that vision, or were you sort of adapting on the go? I'm just curious how when you started, were you like plugging these things into the console and going like doing live sort of mixing and, panning? And I'm just curious how.
Well, of course, the panning was the engineer, Dennis Mann, who played keyboards as well.
So he actually is playing on the right. Okay.
Yes, on some of the is Dennis playing? I'm not sure if he's playing on.
But he does play on the record.
He's on
Right.
Other Haley's Comet. He's
Right.
on Idioblast.
Okay.
And we wrote Concrete People together.
Okay.
with Sasha.
So he's like participating actively in the music, and he's helping you mix it.
And we're going back and forth from the booth to outside and recording on some instrument. Do a vocal. We don't like it. Go outside. Do what we have to do. Come back inside.
Wow.
It was just like a lot of time that was spent in the studio where we could be creative.
Yeah.
Had the luxury to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't have that much time left, but we do want to let's shout out Jay from Modern Harmonic, who so basically referring back to when we were just starting out, I've had a little bit of a relationship with Jay. I've written some liner notes for Modern Harmonic and stuff and helped them with a few things. And I was like, I think Jay might be into this, because I was like, this record needs to be reissued. So I sent it to him, or I just sent him to some YouTube links that were up, and he was just like, this is amazing. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, he had the exact reaction I was hoping for. He got in touch with you. Now we have the double LP, but you know, it's there's a lot of things to wrangle. There's a lot of elements, and then all the visual elements, and of course it comes with the screen with the stencil, which is also on the cover, which is one of your, and this is such a prescient thing as everyone's looking at their phone right now. So, you know, how do you feel? This aged very well, you know. So how do you feel about that?
Well, when I'm watching TV, I really get guilty.
Yeah. Okay. As we all should. I think we're gonna hear a few more things while we have time. This might be it. So, John, thanks for stopping by. Thanks to these gentlemen for having us here, and thanks a lot, Radio. And check out Idioblast, double LP, brand new on Modern Harmonic. It rules. And what are we hearing next? Here we go.
You know me, I was on your block.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
In the rubble of an abandoned lot.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
I was in a suit, it was so damn
Another
hot.
4 years we'd rather not.
I promised a jelly bean in every pot.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
Well, I'm here again in the same old
Another
spot.
4 years we'd rather not.
Decay is what I tried to stop.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
I knocked down buildings on every block.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
Ranch houses on top of lots.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
It's time for my nap, I just forgot.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
I'm a White House cowboy, the future
Another
shot.
4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not. Gonna talk about the future shot. Another 4 years we'd rather not.
You know me, I was on your block.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
In the rubble of an abandoned lot.
Another 4 years we'd rather not.
I was in a suit, it was so damn hot.
4 years we'd rather not.
I promised a jelly bean in every pot. Well, I'm here again.
B dot dash B dot B dot dash cycle. B dot dash B dot B dot dash cycle. B dot B dot B dot dash B dot B dot dash cycle. B dot B dot dash B dot dash B dot B dot dash B dot dash B dot dash B dot dash B dot B dot dash B dot B dot dash B dot B dot dash D dot B dot dash cycle. B dot dash D dot B dot dash cycle. B dot B dot B dot dash 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 D dot B dot dash cycle.
They came upon the shore with gifts from far away. They offered so much more if only they could stay. So we took them as our friends as they start to colonize. They talk of opportunities if we'd only realize there'd be wheels over Indian trails. Wheels over Indian trails. They took our way of living and made it like their own. They told us they were giving. God, if we'd only know there'd be wheels over Indian trails. Wheels over Indian trails. And when they said, you'll all be dead unless you do for us all you can, we shook our heads and died proud in the end. You took what